Welcome. Welcome back to Algebra 1 Honors. This is Lesson 1-5, Translating Sentences into Equations. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to take English language sentences and we're going to convert them into mathematical sentences, or what we call equations. Okay, and this may seem a little difficult at the beginning, but the more that we practice, the easier it gets. Okay, let's look at an example. Okay, we're going to try to translate word sentences into equations. Twice the sum of a number and 4 is 10. Okay, let's think about that. Twice the sum of a number. So twice the sum of a number and 4. I forgot a part. Twice the sum of a number and 4 is 10. So we're going to multiply 2 times the sum of a number, which is going to be n plus 4. And then they say is always means equal. Okay, now we've converted twice the sum of a number, n and 4, sum of a number and 4 is 10. Now all we have to do is we can solve it. We do the distributive property. We say 2n plus 8 equals 10. Subtract 8 from both sides, and we get 2n equals 2, or n equals 1. Okay? So what the English language said here was that twice the sum of a number and 4, and then we have the word is, which means equal, is 10. Okay, you see this is all in English language. There's no numbers here except 4. I should have put the word 4 here. F-O-U-R. Okay, so what we did, we said, well, if we read it twice the sum of a number and 4, we said the number and 4 is going to be n plus 4. Twice that number is 2 times n plus 4, and is, which means equals 10. Okay? Now, the more we do this, the better we're going to get in taking English language and translating. Let's look at another one. All right, let's look at another one from our book. Okay, and let's see what this one says. It says, when a number is multiplied by 4 and the result is decreased by 6, the final result is 10. When a number is multiplied by 4, and let me write that down. When a number is multiplied by 4, and then, I believe it said this decreased by 6, but let's just see. When a number is multiplied by 4 and the result is decreased by 6, the final answer is 10. And the result is decreased by 6. The answer is 10. All right. Boom. Okay, when a number is multiplied by 4, we have to say, what would that represent? A number multiplied 4 would be 4 times a number, 4 times n, or 4n. When a number is multiplied by 4 and the result is decreased by 6, minus 6, okay, and it says the answer is 10. Okay, so the answer is 10 here. Okay, one more time, let's look at this. When a number, n, is multiplied by 4, and the result between the multiplication of 4n is decreased by 6, the answer is 10. Okay, so we took this English language and converted it into a mathematical sentence or an equation, and we're going to solve it. I'm going to add 6 here, and we're going to get 4n equals 16, or n equals 4. Okay, so far so good. We're doing pretty good. We got a couple more. All right, let's see what the next one, we can figure out the next one. Okay, our next guy says this. 3 less than the number x is 12. Now we have to be very careful and read it very carefully. It says 3 less than the number x is 6. So I have to take 3 less than x. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have x minus 3. 3 less than the number x is 12. Let me write that down over here. 3 less than the number x and the number x is, I believe it said 10. I hope it said 10. Okay. All right, so 3 less than the number x. If this is my number x, and I want 3 less than x, I'm going to have to say x minus 3. And is over here means equals 10. So to solve this is quite simple. We add 3 to both sides. We find out that in this case, x equals 13. Okay, and we converted this English language sentence into this equation. Okay, now in this case, we're going to look at a diagram. Look at the little diagram. We're going to try to figure out what the perimeter of this triangle will be. All right? It's not actually written in English language, but it's written as a little diagram. So we have 4, 4, and x. Okay, I'm going to make mine. Okay, so one of my sides is going to be 4 meters, 4 meters, and we don't know what this one is. This is going to be called x. Okay, and it says use the figure and the information below to write an equation to find the perimeter. Okay, the perimeter is going to equal 14. So they give us that the perimeter equals 14. Okay, this isn't actually written in an English language sense, but it's written in a diagram. And we're going to take all the information we need off of here to make our equation. All right, well, first thing we know is that the perimeter of a triangle is we add all the sides together. So it's going to be 4 plus x, and that's going to equal my perimeter. So 4 plus another 4 plus x that I don't know is going to be my perimeter, which we call 14. Okay, now we have to solve. 8 plus x equals 14. We subtract 8 from both sides, and it comes out to be x will equal 6. Okay, this is unique because we're converting a diagram into an algebraic equation. Okay, very good. Now, there's a few rules. For example, the problem in number 5 says the distance traveled in 3 hours of driving was 240 kilometers. Okay, so you drove for 3 hours and you traveled 240 kilometers. All right, let me just write that down. The distance traveled in 3 hours traveled in 3 hours was, okay, that's our given statement. Bang. Now, they're going to ask you for a few things. All right. Now, the very first thing when we address a problem like this is we're going to choose a variable to represent the number described by the words in the parentheses. Then we're going to write an equation that represents the given information. The distance traveled in 3 hours of driving was 240 hours. Okay, so what they want to know is they want to know how fast were you going? What was your speed? Okay, so I'm going to write this down. What was your speed? What was the speed? Okay. All right, well, we should know that the rate, our speed, we call it rate. Rate times our time is what we call distance. Okay, this is called the distance formula. All right, we don't know what our rate is. Our rate is how fast we're going, how fast we're traveling. So we're going to call it rate times 3 hours equals 240. So we have 3R equals 240. We divide both sides by 3, and we find out that we're going 80 kilometers an hour, and in 3 hours that will make us go 240 kilometers. Okay? And we translated that. Okay? And basically now that's basically all there is to section 1-5, translating sentences into equations.